Are you negotiating with debt collectors and feeling overwhelmed? Don't worry, I'm going to talk about negotiating with debt collectors or even creditors themselves and what to do when your offer's refused. Let's be real. Dealing with debt collectors and creditors can be incredibly stressful and overwhelming, especially when you're struggling to make ends meet. But don't worry, I've got you covered. With the right mindset and approach, you can negotiate with them effectively and come up with a plan that works for both parties. So, let's say that you've reached out to a debt collector or creditor and made an offer to pay off your debt in instalments or settle for a lower amount. But unfortunately, your offer was refused. What should you do next? Well, first things first, don't panic. It's important to remember that debt collectors and creditors want to get their money back. And refusing your offer doesn't mean that they're not willing to negotiate. They've probably refused your offer because they think that they can get more money from you. You should use a reconsider my pro rata offer letter to ask them to reconsider. It's a simple letter that explains your circumstances again and encloses a personal budget. It's also a good idea to start making the reduced payments that you offered on a regular basis and point out that you're doing that as a gesture of goodwill. Additionally, it's worth telling them if any of your other creditors have accepted your offers. Another option is to send photocopies of letters from other creditors as proof that others have already agreed. So, it might be worth considering. If you need time to get debt advice and find a debt solution, you may want to apply for breathing space. Breathing space will stop most types of enforcement and also stop most creditors from applying interest and charges for 60 days. It's a great way to get some breathing room and figure out your finances. Now, what can you do if your creditors refuse to freeze interest? Now, a tip that I found useful was to explain to them how important it is to freeze interest because otherwise it'll make it more difficult for you to pay back the debt. Sometimes creditors refuse to freeze the interest altogether or only agree to reduce the interest that they're charging. If your creditors are refusing to freeze interest, carry on making the payments that you offered anyway. Your creditors don't have to accept your offer of payment or freeze interest. If they continue to refuse what you're asking for, keep trying to persuade them by writing to them again. It's important that you don't give up if your creditors refuse your offer. Make the payments that you've offered and ask the creditors to reconsider. Stick to your guns. If you let creditors persuade you to pay more than you can afford, then you might fall behind with your mortgage or rent or other essential household bills. You might also find that you don't have enough money left to live on. Also, don't let them persuade you to pay more than you can afford. Debt collectors normally collect debts by phoning or writing, but they are sometimes allowed to visit your home. Remember that debt collectors have no right to enter your property or remove your goods. You don't have to let them in, just speak to them through the door. It can be tricky negotiating with debt collectors or creditors, but it's not impossible. If you found yourself struggling with debt, you may want to look into debt solutions. Some of them lower your monthly repayments and others can even write some of your debt off. It depends on your unique situation. What I need you to do is click the link that I've left underneath this video. It's got a few questions on it, a few multiple choice questions like how much do you owe and how many people do you owe? And at the end, it'll connect you to a company that I've partnered with to give you all the information you need about debt solutions available in the UK. Click the link below the video, go and check it out and let me know how you get on.